Hi, and welcome back. We successfully completed the third week. Hope the shots are helping you to get an idea of what are the ingredients you need to keep getting into to build your startup. Now, after third week, today we will do a masterclass on business models, hooks, and stories, which I covered in this week. So I've given five shots with regards to each topic which I mentioned, and today we will get into the details of each of the aspect. So without any delay, let's begin. So when you started looking at building your business, we have looked at how do you ideate, what are the kind of business models are there, what are the aspects what you have to look at before you start building up. Over the next 2 weeks, we will also focus on the technologies and how to raise funds. That's a different topic altogether. But this week, the focus is to understand the business models more in little detail. What are hooks and why are they important? And why are user stories very important? Your personal story when you're selling your product or idea, why are they important? And we'll end it with a very, very powerful example. I'm sure most of you know, but I really love this as the best story for your idea. Now, what is a business model? To put it in simple terms, a business model is nothing but a blueprint of how your company operates, creates value, remains profitable, while ensuring all stakeholders are making informed decisions. This is what a business model is. Because no business can be built by one person. I'm sure there are definitely single person companies, but as you grow along, you need to have a communication channel with all your stakeholders. It can be your employees, it can be your clients, it can be your partners, anybody. We should have a very, very clear understanding, and the communication should be set. You set it by setting your vision and mission statements, and then getting into creating your business model so that everybody understands what you're doing, why you're doing, how you're doing. As simple as that. So business model is nothing but a blueprint. It's like a blueprint for your house. Before you construct a house, you call the civil engineer. What he does, he takes your requirements and then comes back with a blueprint. So, for example, you need a three-bedroom house with two car parks and a swimming pool, let's say. He will come back with the area available. He will come with two, three ideas saying, this is how we can construct your idea. Now, you decide if what idea you like, make the required tweaks and turns, and then start going ahead and building your dream house. So, in the similar way, when you're building a business, when you're designing a new product, or you're setting up a manufacturing plant, whatever it is, you need to have a blueprint of how things run. Now, the next question which comes up is, what are the different kinds of business models? Are there any? To be honest, it's a standard framework for all businesses. However, as time progressed and as technology advanced, as new aspects started coming into picture, the categorization of business models has also been done. For example, SaaS never existed 25 years ago. SaaS came recently. 25 years ago, there was no one who was paying monthly for using a product or service. But today, even for a razor, we have a monthly subscription. So times have changed. So as the times changed and progressed, we are also looking at what the different kinds of aspects. And I have brought together a few things for you to look at. The first is the product based, when manufacturing and products and selling them. That's the product business model. For example, you wanted to build or you wanted to sell a water bottle. So that falls into a product based business model. For this, the ingredients are a little different. So for setting up a plant, you need to find the place, you need to build the plant, you need to understand what all manufacturing aspects go into manufacturing a water bottle. You need to have the suppliers to get you the water, purification systems. you need a packaging plant, you need a storing plant, you need distribution channels. These all things come in a product-based aspect. Predominantly, this comes for everybody. For example, if you're building a SaaS product, so take my example, Haplo is a SaaS product, but we don't have a plant or an office. We work remotely from our home, and it makes life more easier. So not all products can be that way. So you will incur certain costs, and you have to plan your finances. So we'll talk about financing and everything in 2 weeks from time from now, but I think you got the gist of it. So product based is for anybody who's wanting to build or sell a product with a manufacturing plant or a supply chain management, whatever it is, that's what happens in product based. Service based is consulting. So this business model predominantly looks at what are the services you're offering, why are you different from the other kind of services, what is your uniqueness, and how are you going to deliver. I'll take another example, which is again Studio Navaka, what I do as a fractional CTO. So I work with startups, small, medium enterprises, where for them to, when they're building their business initially, it is very expensive to bring a CTO kind of a person who looks at the technology part, the operations part, or the strategy part, or whatever it is. Now, that's where I step in. So I do certain hours per week and tell them, I look at what their goals are, and I will tell them these are my deliverables. So I work on a subscription base. So my business model is a little different than a traditional consulting model. So why I gave Studio Navaka's example is one way to tell you what I do. The second thing is explaining about the consulting business model. So for this, what I need to look at, if you look at my business model, what all going into my business model is what is the service I'm going to provide? Why am I different from others? How am I going to deliver? So predominantly my delivery is remote, and because definitely people want to meet in person. So I chalk out certain hours in a month to go and sit with the team and work with the team so that they come to know how I work, and I also know how they work. So it makes it more easier. So if you look at Accenture, if you look at Infosys, if you name the company in the world which is in consulting, they have a consulting business model. You build a pipeline, you deliver, you get the revenue. So that also, the billing happens in hourly manner, a day manner, or a monthly manner, quarterly manner, whatever. So these all things go into a consulting model, the consulting business model. The next one is subscription. So it's a very simple business model, pay a recurring fee for a service. For example, you use Google Suite or Office 365, you subscribe to them per month, you pay pay a certain amount for you to use their software. As simple as that. That's the simplest example of a subscription software. Freemium. The basics are free, but when you start getting into the details of the product, then you start paying. The best and the classic example is LinkedIn. So you can create your LinkedIn profile. You can do a lot of things. You have a personalized LinkedIn link and everything, URL, everything you have. But the moment you want to stand out, you have premium services. You have a career premium service. You have a business premium service. All these things come into picture. Then if you want to utilize the power of LinkedIn to market your services or whatever, Sales Navigator gets in. If you are a company who's looking at recruiting good talent, then the recruitment module comes into picture. And I will not say they're very expensive, but yeah, you pay a good price for getting those services. So if you want to start, the basics are free, but the moment you want something more, that's when you start paying. So for this, you can look at the example of hooks too, right? So when you're using LinkedIn predominantly, it keeps giving you a message when you're using the regular LinkedIn service, upgrade to premium for people to know you will get this, you will get this. Or when somebody searches for a similar kind of a profile, your name comes on the top because you have paid to get onto the top. So the hooks are very nice. And if you are into business, you go into Sales Navigator. If you're a company who's wanting to recruit the right talent, you will go into the right you will go into the hiring module. So the hooks are very nice, but they have very limited offering, about 4 or 5. That's about it. They're very clear of their segmentation and they sell, right? So predominantly LinkedIn free works for all of us. But if you want to get better chances of being noticed, LinkedIn Premium would do well. I'm not selling their services. I'm just giving you an example. This is how you can design your product. If you're wanting to do something, give the first one free and then have the subscription. There are a lot of other examples you have. For example, there is this razor company who actually sell their first. I mean, why razor company? Let's look at Gillette itself. Their main product, the razor, will come for 30 rupees or something, the basic starting when the use and throw one, or and they have different categories of razors which go up to 1,000 rupees. So you initially invest in that, but when you start buying the blades, that's their actual business model. So blades are very, very important for them. The instrument is just once, probably you'll buy one in like 2, 3 years, but blades are something what you buy every month. So that's again coming, in a way you make a small investment, but subscription comes into picture. In the similar way, there are companies who give away the first one free, but you have to commit for a 1 year subscription with them for razors. So you have different kinds of models, but again, I'm talking about freemium. LinkedIn is the best example you can look at. If you're wanting to look at your business in that way, create amazing hooks for people to start paying you. The next one is marketplace. Simplest and the most powerful examples are Amazon and Flipkart. So they don't manufacture anything, they don't do anything. They just created a marketplace where people like you and me can go ahead and register with them and start selling our products. And they are calling everybody to download their app. They're doing the marketing for downloading their app and searching for products. And when they make a purchase, Amazon gets that card and I sold my product. So they have created marketplaces. There are many marketplaces like this. OLX is a fantastic example of somebody who, I mean, this is something what I was thinking long ago. Why can't I resell my whatever things what I don't use, books, electronics, so whatever. OLX was at the right time at the right place. They created a marketplace for used goods. That's about it. I wanted to sell off my monitor, for example, 3 months ago. I put it on OLX and within 5 minutes it was sold. So again, marketplaces are these kind of business models. So last is licensing, where you are the owner of the particular IP and you grant permission for somebody else to use it. In return, they pay you a license fee. Classic example, Windows, Microsoft, gives away the Windows license to laptop manufacturers. And whenever they make a sale, Microsoft keeps getting a cut instead of keeping the software with them and give it to them. Whereas if you look at Apple, their Mac OS is very proprietary. It runs on only their devices, right? They didn't go into licensing module. So these are the kind of business models, and I'm sure your idea will hook to one of these business models. If you still can't find a business model, don't hesitate to ping me or leave a comment below and I will answer that question back to you. All right. So next one is developing your business model. Now we have understood what are the ingredients of a business model. We have understood what are the kinds of business models. And now when you start writing, I repeated this in the shorts too. I repeated this last week. Identifying the target market is the most, I'm trying to use an anecdote, but is the most important aspect of building a business model. If you are building a product for a general use, trust me, it's a very high risky proposition. It can be anything. Even if you are wanting to manufacture water or maida or atta, whatever you want to do, right? If you are getting into it, you need to know your market segment. So for example, atta predominantly is for the household. So you need to target the elders in the household, whatever it is. I'm just giving an example, random example, but you have a target market. I am going to sell my atta to all the homemakers to make amazing chapati. One, I want to sell my atta for the working women so that their chapatis, when they're made in the morning, are fresh till afternoon. another value proposition. So you can come out with anything, but having that target market segment is very, very important before you start developing your business model. Value proposition. I've mentioned this in my masterclass. I've mentioned this in the shorts. Nothing beats the understanding of your value proposition. Why are you doing what you are doing? If you can communicate that, that becomes very amazing. In the previous masterclass, I did talk about this a little bit more detail, giving a little bit more examples. So the link to the masterclass is below in the description. If you can go ahead and listen to the masterclass, you will have a better idea. Determine the revenue streams. So what happens is, predominantly when we start building a product, we look at one kind of revenue. But if you spend a little bit more time with the business model, you might get different ideas. I'll give you a classic example. So what happens in India when you buy a water bottle, the plastic water bottle? Once you're done, there are two ways you can do. One, you sell it, or you collect all the water bottles, and there are people who buy plastic and newspaper from us, right? So you can resell it back to them. Now, this does not exist in India, this business model. But if you go to Germany, this business model exists, where you sell a water bottle, and if the water bottle is returned back, you get some money back, right? I hope somebody in India starts thinking about this way, because we'll save a lot of efforts in recycling. We don't need to throw up the plastic on the road or in the nearby dustbin. But if organizations can start looking at models where they have collection centers and you return the water bottle, you get, let's say, 50 paisa back. I'm focusing more on the Indian numbers in this masterclass. But yeah, I mean, you get 50 rupees back, 50 paisa back. People will be motivated to give, instead of just throwing the water bottle on the road, go back and return it in the supermarket or whatever. It's not rocket science. This works in Germany, right? Many things like this small thing, that's how economies are built. We need to understand, how do you confine and how do you motivate? It's just not about selling a product or a service. It is about how you are engaging with the customer, right? Look at the Germany business model. And simple thing I'm telling you, even for a water bottle, can you imagine they are engaging with their end users, right? So they sell a water bottle for, let's say, €3 or €5, and when you give it back, you get back €1 or whatever it is, right? A simple amount which comes back. Probably you can give it as a credit too. You can, I've seen where when you return the bottle, you get a slip back, and you can use that in any supermarket when you're doing your purchases. Just imagine the impact it will create in a country like India if we have that. Forget it. Not many countries do this business model too. Even in America, this business model does not exist. But I'm seeing these are some of the most powerful ways to engage with the customer in a non-engaging product like a water bottle. Just imagine what we can do. So this is what I keep stressing. When you are developing business models, spend a lot of time ideating, because the more amount of time you ideate, that's the strength of the product what you're going to bring, and you will have more control on your idea. Don't jump into something. I can give you class examples. People jump in and later realize they're lost, and it comes trembling down. This is one of the reasons, even though entrepreneurship looks very, very lucrative, 9 out of 10 startups fail. Beat anything, 9 out of 10 startups fail, right? That's the problem, because we are not thinking or spending enough time ideating to see how much of value can we create and how can we engage with the customer consistently. These examples, what I'm giving, are not my own. They're existing in the world, right? Simple aspect of returning a bottle, getting some credit, using that in the supermarket next time when you go is amazing. But yeah, the infrastructure becomes a big problem, and a lot of things come into picture for a massive country like India. But we can solve that problem, right? So If as entrepreneurs, whatever product or service what we are creating, if we can create this kind of engaging business models, that's when you start creating success. That's when you become unique, and that's when you start looking at things very differently. That's this is a famous quote. This is not my own. Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Correct? So, as simple as that. Think, ideate for a longer time to get to a solidified understanding. Now, if you ask me, Hari, what is an appropriate time to ideate? If you are a subject matter expert in that area, you don't need to spend a lot of time because you know the nuances. So, for example, if you come and ask me, if let's say, for example, I'm building a software which does automatic consulting. I'm just giving, for example, right? Then I don't need to ideate a lot. I know what I do and I have to automate the process. That's about it, right? So if you're a subject matter expert, then it's okay. Take your time, but have the solidified plan. Answer all these questions to yourself before jumping into the venture. But if it's not your subject matter expertise, again, go back from week one. I talked about domain understanding, subject matter expertise. All these things become very, very important. So spend time to understand. I know a lot of people who have ideas. I mean, I come from a health tech background, so I know people who have not been in a health tech background, who have not stepped into a hospital, are trying to solve healthcare problems. That doesn't work. That doesn't work because you're telling the customer what you want to do. No, you have to do what the customer wants, right? So that's where the difference comes. If you are going into a new domain, spend time to understand the domain before you jump in and start building the software. All right. Identify the cost structure. Now, determine the revenue streams. At that example, with that I close, but there will be a lot of avenues for you to look at how you can, when you engage with customers, engage with them in a revenue model too. What is that? That's if a bottle is coming and you're giving 50 paisa back, see how that bottle saves cost for you in the next manufacturing cycle, right? As simple as that. So you can find different avenues for revenue if you spend time understanding what your product does and how it's solving customers' problem. And over a period of time, you can also keep adding to that business model. Identifying the cost structure. So this is a straight aspect. Identifying the cost structure means what is the total cost you will have to spend to manufacture the product. For example, mine is a services or a consulting company. So what is my cost? My cost is my time, my setup, my laptop, my internet connection. What else? Electricity. So these are all part of the cost structure, right? And if I have to travel to a client site, cost of travel, which is my time plus the cost of transport, cost of staying, cost of coming back. So all these become part of your cost structure. Similarly, if you're doing a manufacturing plant, how much does the site cost? Or what is the property tax? What are the certifications you need to get? What are the licenses you need to get? What is the cost of the machinery? What is the cost of labor? All these things, cost of electricity, cost of water, all these things come into picture. So be as detailed as possible to identify your cost structure. For identifying cost structure, I'm sure you know what you want to build. So you know what are all the aspects which go into it. So legal fees, your finance consultant, all these things come into picture. Choose the distribution channel. Now, that's very important. If you're manufacturing a water bottle, how am I going to deliver this to the end customer? Okay, in the vicinity, probably I will just drop it off in my car. But I'm not going to sell only in my vicinity. I'm going to sell throughout the country and throughout the world. So what are my distribution channels? Is it ground transport? Is it train transport? Is it aircraft cargo, ship cargo? What are the ways I'm going? How this is for reaching your end customer. But in the meantime, you also have to look at how much you are going to spend, or how much are you going to look at the advertising. All these things come into picture. I'm not getting there. That goes into the cost structure. I'm talking about distribution channel. So distribution channel, whatever you're distributing, how are you distributing, what are the costs involved. If you're, for example, manufacturing ice cream in Bangalore and it has to go to, let's say, Delhi, right? The cost of transport will be high because you need to have a cooler. So, but if I have to send it to Mangalore, it will be much more cheaper because the distance is less. So all these things come into the whole aspect of your cost structure plus your distribution channel becomes very, very important. Build partnerships. The most important. Little one thing I realized when I started my consulting journey is I can do a lot of things, but there are a lot of things which I don't know and I don't know how to get them done. I'll give you a classic example. So I'm building this YouTube channel. YouTube channel has a lot of signs for reaching to the right people. Right now, I'm putting the content. So one of the key things what YouTube how to get visibility on YouTube is you have to be consistent in posting, right? So I'm trying to be consistent in posting, but is that enough? No. You need the SEO optimization. So why will anybody search for Hari Puripati, right? Until unless they know my name. No, correct? So I need to use the appropriate tags. And SEO optimization is something I have zero knowledge on. I have minimal knowledge, which is okay, but I can definitely improve on that. So I have few partnerships who help me. We are still defining it, so I'm still not using it powerfully in my channel. But I'm trying to find the right partners to help me to build the channel in terms of SEO optimization, the kind of content, all these things which come into picture. So for your idea, for your product, build partnerships and see, take their guidance in terms of how you can go forward. That's one. Second, in terms of, for example, distribution, you want to have a distributor in Bombay, you want to have a distributor in Delhi, you want to have a distributor in New York. Those are all partnerships. So when your goods come, they take care and they sell and the revenue is shared, right? So I'm sorry. You can use any of, there are a lot of tools for designing your business model, writing your business model. Business model canvas is one of the top rated or underrated, overrated. Yeah, there are people who are dead against it. There are people who are for it. So I'll remain in between. If you are a starter, there is nothing like starting with business model canvas. You can search on Google for business model canvas or go to Strategize a website and download their PDF and start working on it. Now, coming to the next part, what are hooks? I did talk about the hooks in the third day of my shorts. For any product, you need a reason for people to come and buy the product, correct? Now, these are called hooks. A hook creates a feature in a product or service to ensure users come back and purchase or subscribe to the service. Now, why should somebody subscribe to me? Okay, by chance, this video came up to you and you said, okay, let me listen to Hari what he says. Now, why should you sign up or why should you click on the subscribe button? Because I am good at what I do. I know what I'm doing and I'm focusing on promoting entrepreneurship for people who are interested in becoming self or independent suppliers, or you want to manufacture something. There is a lot of gap these days. There are a lot of videos, I'm not saying no, who give you amazing information, but I'm coming from the standpoint of how do you start up without having money. I did one video on that. Or how do you start up without looking for investors, and so that you take care of all these things so that it becomes. I know this is not a great hook for many people, so I might not hit 1 million subscribers in the next 1 year, but that's my focus area. And that's what I specialize on. I have some more ideas when, as they open up, you will be knowing them. I have some more hooks for people to come to my channel so that they know they will learn something new and subscribe to me, and that's how both of us grow. So hooks are very, very important. Think of why I should buy a water bottle. That's when you start doing the action sales. What are the kinds of hooks? I did talk about it: emotional, financial, and promise. Emotional hook. WhatsApp is the classic example of an emotional hook. It keeps you in communication with your friends and family, and nowadays a lot of groups. It's become a habit. On an average, a human being who uses a smartphone and WhatsApp looks at WhatsApp not less than 10 times in given 1 hour, right? 8 to 10 times is a world average. But why are we looking at it so much? What is the hook? The hook is the communication, right? I have sent a message to my loved ones, or I have sent a message to for a business proposal. I'm waiting for a response, so I keep going back and checking. So WhatsApp is a class example of an emotional hook. Financial trading apps, right? Nothing to hide in that. You've invested money, you're looking at by the evening, okay, how much my money grew, how much my money came, and many people set alerts, so it keeps coming when the stock price is going up, it buzzes, it comes down, it buzzes. So you're attracted, I mean, you're hooked, and you keep going and seeing how your money is performing today. Promise is something what in simple thing, the example what I've given, right? Banks tell you, open the FD with us, you get this much interest guaranteed. That's a 100% promise. Yeah, there are other kinds of this thing. You come to our gym for 6 months, you will lose 100 kgs. So that's a kind of promise. Non-tangible promises they are. It might work for some person it might not work. But for banks, when they give you the FD, they are promising you, let's say, 5% returns, and you are getting the 5% returns end of your term of the 1 year or 2 years or 1 month, whatever time you have invested in them. So that's a hard promise, it's a tangible promise, and other promises become intangible. So if your product or service has a hook like that, don't be afraid to use it. The last part of today's masterclass is stories. Why are stories important? Because they connect with the consumer with an emotion. So when I share my story and why am I building, why am I providing this service, people connect with me much better. I'll tell you, when I started the fractional CTO aspect, my whole objective was when I started the journey with Haplo, I felt I could use some help from somebody who doesn't charge me a lot so that I can get few things done. But unfortunately, everything turned out to be money, right? So, and I couldn't find anybody who was wanting to help me for equity or give me some time to pay them back. Yeah, but there's one person who did amazing work for us, and we still have to pay them back. Except that person, nobody else did anything for us. So that's where I said, this is the pain point of startups and small, medium enterprises. So I want to be in that. So any organization, small, big, large, whatever, they're doing a special project, but they don't want their full-time employees to work on it, but they want the third party to come in and do the entire modeling for them. That's when they call me, and that's where I step in and help them do that. So that it's just a cost for them, but the project is also done, independently done, fresh pair of eyes which come into picture. So when you build stories, you are connecting with the emotion of the other person. This is the pain I went through. So I'm telling you, I've been through this pain. That's why I'm providing this service. So come to me, right? Now, the next slide will be very interesting because when you have story, I talked about my services story, but there was an ad in 1984 when Apple Macintosh launched. Just see the ad.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. You created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of very contradictory thoughts. Unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1980.
So, why is this ad so famous? Why did it capture people's attention? If you look at the ad, the whole summary of the ad is in those days, IBM was the biggest competitor for Apple. Microsoft in a different way, but IBM because they want to sell laptops, computers too. So IBM was the prime competitor. So in this ad, which is depicted from a novel 1984, you have somebody, a father figure or a senior person who was dictating the terms, and everybody was listening to him. If you saw the ad, and when they're seeing the ad, I mean, they were just blindly listening to whatever is happening. They were not using the brains or whatever. You can clearly see that they're coming in straight line, sitting down, and just paying attention to him. And there's an athletic girl who comes and breaks the entire screen. So what Apple was saying is, till now you were using a device how it was told to use, but we are coming with Macintosh. It will change the way you use a device. So that's a powerful message what they've given, and this has gained amazing acceptance from all walks of life. And just hope. And they didn't even say buy our laptop or buy our computer. Nothing. They just said Apple is launching their Macintosh, and 1984 will never be 1984 again. So these kind of powerful stories connect. Nike's just do it, right? These are stories which connect with the end user. So if there is something which can connect with the end user in what you are building, please use that and make it big. Now, well, that concludes the masterclass on business models and hooks and stories. So we have successfully completed 3 weeks. Uh, uh, please do subscribe to my channel if you're visited here for the first time. Otherwise, I have all the links to the shorts of the last 2 weeks and the masterclasses in the description below. If you want to work with me, you have my calendar link in the description. You can use that to set up some time with me. Or if you have any questions, you can do that. I'm also doing first time entrepreneur program. The link is in the description. Sign up. It's a 6 weeks first time entrepreneur program where I work with you in person, either video or in person, to understand your business and help you craft your business model and get you ready to launch your startup or your idea. So navaka.studio/ENT program. That's the link. It is down below in the description. Sign up, and I will ensure you have a very clear idea before you start your journey. All right. Thank you so much for being with me through the masterclass. And Monday onwards, week 4 starts, and I will start posting the shots for you to look at. And I will see you next week during the masterclass. Thank you, and have a lovely week ahead.